Words shape us. From the moment we're born, the phrases we hear from those around us leave lasting impressions. But when those words are harsh, dismissive, or critical, especially from our parents, they leave scars that can last a lifetime. Today, we follow the story of Alex, a man shaped by toxic phrases from his childhood. Alex was a bright-eyed child, full of dreams and curiosity, but beneath the surface, the seeds of doubt were being sown. His mother often said, "Why can't you be more like your brother?" This simple comparison cut deep, implanting a sense of inadequacy that would follow him into adulthood. As a young boy, Alex learned to measure his worth against others. Whenever he brought home a good grade, the praise was always tempered by a reminder of his brother's achievements. "You could do better," his father would say. These phrases made Alex feel as though he was never enough, leaving him with a heavy heart and a constant need for validation. As Alex grew into his teenage years, the weight of those toxic phrases became heavier. He navigated friendships and academic pressures, but the voice in his head was relentless. "You'll never amount to anything," echoed in his mind, pulling him into a dark corner of self-doubt. When he struggled with a math problem, he heard the words, "You should be grateful for what you have." Instead of receiving support, he felt dismissed, leading him to believe his challenges didn't matter. Alex started to internalize these messages, convincing himself that he had no right to feel upset or overwhelmed. Each time he faced a setback, whether it was a failed test or a breakup, the emotions he'd learned to suppress bubbled beneath the surface. He pushed them down, thinking, "Real men don't cry." Yet inside, the turmoil grew, leaving him anxious and isolated. Part 3. The adulthood struggle. Fast forward to adulthood, and Alex finds himself stuck in a cycle of emotional suppression. He works tirelessly at a job that doesn't fulfill him, constantly battling the internal voice that says, "You're useless." Every time he hesitates to speak up in a meeting or share his ideas, that toxic phrase rings in his ears, suffocating his confidence. His relationships suffer as well. Alex often hears himself telling his partner, "You're too sensitive," when she expresses her feelings. Unbeknownst to him, he's perpetuating the cycle of emotional invalidation that he experienced growing up. He struggles to connect, feeling uncomfortable with vulnerability, which creates a barrier between him and those he loves. The pressure to be the strong man consumes him, leading to moments of explosive anger over trivial issues. He finds himself withdrawing from friends, afraid they'll see the cracks in his stoic facade. Yet beneath it all, he longs for connection, for someone to understand the pain he feels inside. Part 4. The path to healing. One day, Alex hits rock bottom. Sitting alone in his car after a particularly difficult day, he finally allows himself to cry. For the first time, he confronts the toxic phrases that have haunted him for years. He realizes these words do not define him. They were merely reflections of others' insecurities. In that moment, he decides to seek help. Therapy becomes a safe space for Alex to explore his emotions without judgment. Through hard work, he begins to rewrite his narrative, replacing those toxic phrases with affirmations of self-worth and vulnerability. He learns it's okay to feel, to be sensitive, and to express emotions. Gradually, Alex starts to rebuild his relationships, opening up to his partner and sharing his struggles. He learns to embrace vulnerability, understanding that it's a strength, not a weakness. No longer trapped by the toxic phrases of his past, Alex embarks on a journey of healing and self-acceptance. Conclusion. Rewriting the story. Toxic words don't just vanish with time, they leave marks that last a lifetime. For men like Alex, growing up in an environment where their emotions are dismissed, criticized, or ignored can shape their entire emotional landscape. But healing is possible. Recognizing these toxic patterns is the first step to breaking free from them. If you grew up hearing these phrases, understand that your feelings are valid. You are not defined by the words spoken over you. By acknowledging the harm done, you take the first step toward healing and reclaiming your emotional well-being.